Well, hey, welcome to Club Divorce Day. We go from broken to blessed together. I am Elizabeth, and I am here with
Angela.
And we are here in Carmel, Indiana at Elite Health Resort hanging out. And for the first time, we are YouTube Live. I've been saying Facebook for so long, but for the first time, we're actually YouTube Live. So I want to give a shout out and thank you for everyone who has subscribed so far in order to make this happen. We truly, truly thank you. And if you have not yet subscribed to us, please do so. And it's interesting because I hear kids watching all these YouTube videos and I hear it all the time. Subscribe. Right. And I'm thinking, why do we have to subscribe if we can watch for free? I'm like, seriously, why do we subscribe?
I don't know.
And and I'm telling you, there's stories out there. Like my son was watching something and I kid you not, this is what the person said on the video. If you love Jesus, hit subscribe. If you don't love Jesus, don't subscribe. And I'm just sitting here thinking, are you kidding me? People really say that out there? I'm like, okay, if you love Jesus, subscribe, okay? But I mean, seriously though, it blows my mind on how many people out there subscribe. But I get it now. A lot of people on there are on YouTube to make money. They need, I think, 1,000 subscribers minimum in order to start having a monetized concept of being on YouTube and to be a YouTube influencer. But here's the reality check. We're not here to be influencers. We are here to spread the love of Jesus and to spread the love to everyone who is broken. People who have been divorced, people going through the divorce, people who grew up with divorced parents, anyone who has had some sort of divorce in their life or is going through it, we're here for you. And when we look at the stats, we see people not just in Indiana. We have people all over the world. There are people in the United Kingdom, Canada, there's Vietnam, there's
Spain, I think, was one of them.
Spain was one of them. There's Africa. Literally all over the world who chime in and listen. And another reason why we want to be on YouTube more than we do on Facebook is because not everybody has Facebook. Now, I do love it. I love the fact that we have over 500 people chimed in on Facebook. Mm-hmm. I am so grateful for that. And we absolutely love you. And we love your guys' support. And there's a gentleman who actually wrote that book about being divorced in his 40s. He sent a comment to me asking me for permission to post that on our post. And for men who are going through the divorce in their 40s, I did skim through the book, and it is a great book. And so that's another reason why I gave him permission to go ahead and post it on our Facebook. So it's a joy to have both Facebook and YouTube. But when having YouTube, we get to spread the love of being broken to blessed together and spread the love of Club Divorce Day so much further than Facebook. So that's why we want to be on YouTube, and that's why we're here. And so that's why we are testing the waters to see how it's going to work for us to be YouTube Live today that we are. So the topic that we're having today is going to be a different topic. It's something that I know you had wanted to bring up, and I have one side of the story and the experience with a little bit of the other. But you have more of the other.
Yeah.
So it works out really well for us. But today's topic is co-parenting versus parallel parenting. Mm-hmm. So what is the difference between the two? And I know you have some biblical aspects towards this as well. So let's just cut to the chase.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of parallel parenting?
So the funny thing is I have never heard of parallel parenting. And after you had mentioned it, I went back to look and oh my gosh, I wish I had known about it. Mm-hmm. I wish my divorce lawyers told me. I wished the counselor that we saw told me about it. I wished that I have done some research to find out more about it. There really isn't anything out there that says go through parallel parenting first and then go through co-parenting.
Well, I think in the research that I've done and from what I've heard is that courts don't really like the idea of parallel parenting because they want parents to be able to get along. They want parents to communicate. They want parents to be on the same page. They want parents to be able to do all these things. But parallel parenting comes out of like high conflict divorces, high conflict marriages where those people, they're getting a divorce. They cannot get along. They cannot co-parent together. So then you've created parallel parenting.
Interesting. But the other thing about that is, courts, yes, they do want to support the 50-50. They want to support this co-parenting environment, but we all know the reality. We don't just smile when we go through the divorce and smile when we sign
There's
the
a
divorce
reason
papers.
why we're getting a divorce.
Exactly. It's like, oh, hey, yes, let's do the 50-50. Everything's going to be great.
Right.
No,
Right.
especially when you're going through the grieving or you're going through all the emotions of divorce that we have talked about in our previous episodes. And it's how can you actually, in a healthy way, co-parent when you're going through the divorce?
Yeah.
And then maybe like the first year or two after divorce, how can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like I mentioned in 2 podcasts before, I yelled at my ex in front of my
Yes.
in front of our counselor, telling him to go get laid and stop controlling me. And had I known more about the parallel parenting, that would have happened. Time would have subsided. Then we would have gone to the healthier way of co-parenting versus still having that tension.
Mm-hmm.
So it is so interesting to learn the difference between the two because there is such thing as a difference of the two.
Yeah.
What do we want to talk about first? Do we want to talk about the co-parenting first or the
Let's-
parallel parenting first?
I don't know. Let me get to some of my notes.
I mean,
I have a
this-
long list of notes over here. So.
Okay. I first started talking about co-parenting under my
Mhm.
research, and then I went and learned more about the parallel parenting afterwards because I was like, oh, yeah. I wish I had known about that before.
Yeah.
So which one do you want to do?
I don't care.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, we can talk about both.
Okay.
ahead.
So let's stick with the co-parenting first.
Okay.
But the difference, let's be real. The difference comes down to how much interaction and cooperation
Mhm.
exists between the parents. That is one of the differentiations. So co-parenting, you're more active with your collaborative approach to things.
Mhm.
And you are basically, think of the motto that you're not together, but you're working still as partners in raising a child.
Yeah.
You're both a team. So think of it that way. Communication, it's more regular
Mhm.
and it's respectful and polite.
Yeah.
So I understand how hard that is when you're actually going through the divorce because you want to curse your ex. You just get so upset and your emotions get really high in this. And it's really hard to be respectful and polite. Let's be real. Also, you make joint decisions about
Yeah.
the child when it comes to schooling, discipline, health, etc.
Mhm.
And I remember my struggles with that too because I'm very anti-vaccination. And my ex, well, let's say he's had the COVID shot 5 times and he had COVID 3 times.
Are you even allowed to get it that many times?
I don't even know. But he's also the kind of guy that will go up to a station, hand sanitize his hands, 5 minutes later, go back and do it again.
Oh.
5 minutes later, go back and do it again. Like he's a major germaphobe, for example. So
Yeah.
when it came to health, that was a battle.
Mhm.
When it comes to discipline, that was a battle in the beginning as well. When it came to schooling, that was a battle in as well. Now, I will say, pick and choose your battles. 6 years post-divorce, and we still have those battles from time to time. But when it comes to co-parenting, you're supposed to make those joint decisions together
Mhm.
in a healthy way. Also, when it comes to co-parenting, you try to stay consistent with the rules and routines across both households. Again, hard to do when you're going through the divorce
Right.
and through the beginning of your actual divorce. But here's the hard part. You're supposed to put your personal conflicts aside to work as a team. That's hard too.
Right.
So, like, those are like the basic gist when it comes to co-parenting. And the pros to that, you have high consistency for children. So, you're thinking of your children first, you're putting your personal stuff aside, and it lowers the stress for your kids. And it also shares the joys of your milestones. I will give that. My ex and I, we go to as many as we can. We go to our kids' karate. He's a black belt now, so we go to it's Taekwondo technically. We go to that. We go to all of his football games,
Mhm.
flag, tackle, whatever it is he wants to do. When he was in swimming, we did all of those things together. We go to the practices together. We go to the games. We go to everything together. But there are cons to this, of course. So, and it can be really hard, especially for those who are emotional, because it requires a high emotional intelligence and it's difficult in high conflict scenarios. So, as you were speaking in regards to parallel parenting, that's completely different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
It is.
what else do you have for co-parenting?
For my co-parenting notes, I mean they're very similar to yours. There's frequent communication. there's a lot more communication that's probably over the phone. You guys are texting, you guys are asking questions, as
That's a good
opposed to
point.
parallel parenting. That looks very, very different, where communication is going to be limited. But you guys share a lot of communication. You guys are able to put your feelings aside. You are most of the time. I mean,
yeah, now
even
we
in a-
are.
even in a
Yes.
marriage, you guys probably would have still had those same arguments. You would have argued about vaccines. He would have been pro-vax, and you probably would have pushed and shoved a little bit more. So where you still would have had those arguments together, but you guys are still married, or not married. You guys are still having those conversations, and you're doing it more in a healthier way because you guys are essentially co-parenting together. You have shared decisions. So when it comes to the medical stuff, you guys share your decisions. When it comes to sports or whatever it is that you guys are doing, you are sharing in those decision making. Who's going to get them there? Who's going to be at the practices? What is he actually going to participate in this summer? Is he going to do soccer? Is he going to do taekwondo? What is he going to do? And you have a joint involvement, which you also said you guys are there together. And I have seen that. Like,
Yeah.
Elizabeth and I love to go to the Westfield football games on Friday night, and her
Oh, yeah.
ex-husband showed up to one, and I was like, this would never happen for me. No way.
Not only did he show up, he sat with
He
us.
sat with us.
And he sat with our pastor and
Yeah.
his wife
He did.
and their youngest.
Yeah, he sure did. And I was like, nope, not happening in mine.
Okay,
No.
Out of the 6 years we've been divorced,
Uh-huh.
that was the first time ever. I was like, oh my gosh, he's sitting in front of my pastor. I was like, shit, so do I introduce him? I was like, what do I do? I was like, and then not only that, but he took Austin to the barber and totally shaved his freaking hair.
Yes,
And I was like,
yeah.
no, it's a 4-guard on top, 1 on the side. He's like, I thought you meant 1 everywhere. The poor kid was so embarrassed. And he's sitting there with his glasses with the shaved head and his dad on one side and me on the other and the pastor behind him and the pastor's wife with the cowbell and then you on the other side. It was just like, oh my gosh, what do I do?
Yeah.
It was the first time ever he's actually sat with me and people that are not my family.
Okay.
It was the first time. And I didn't know what to do. I'm
I
sitting
didn't
here
know
trying
that.
to watch the game and I'm like watching the game and I'm like, I love you, sweetheart, hugging my son. And I'm like, I guess I introduce. So I did. I introduced him to our
Mhm.
pastor and
Yeah.
his wife and everybody there. And it was okay. But the funny thing is, Jerome and Heather, like, they know my story too. So
Mhm.
they're just like, bless their hearts. They were being so nice and acceptable and just very cordial. And so it did. It worked out really well. And yeah, you're right. When it comes to health things, in the beginning, we did not get along when it comes to a lot of this. We could not text without fighting. We couldn't email without
Mhm.
fighting. And it was so exhausting because there was so much control and it really got to me. And then it was going behind my back. So like I
Mhm.
just said, I am anti-vax. I don't do the flu shot. I do not believe in it. I will not do it. And I told the pediatrician not to give him one.
Mhm.
And there's been a couple times where my ex has took my son to the pediatrician and I've had to call them in advance and be like, FYI, he's on his way there. I do not give consent to the flu shot. Do not do it. And it's just sad that I actually had to go be proactive like that
Yeah.
because he would have probably gone by my back and done that because
Right.
he goes and does the flu shot every year. And I was like, yeah. So again, it is just now, 6 years later, we do text all the time. He just sent me pictures last night. He rescued 2 bunnies that fell into one of the holes of his basement.
Yeah.
And now my son has 2 pet bunnies that he named Jordan and Kobe because he's totally in the NBA right now. So he now has 2 bunnies in his house. So we'll see how long that lasts. I know my mom's giggling about this too.
Oh, it probably
But-
won't. How?
They're tiny little bunnies.
Yeah, they're
So
probably
they're not going to have, they don't have their mommy. They're tiny little bunnies that fell, but they're trying to save them and rescue them.
Good
But
luck.
talk about the healthy co-parenting. He sent me pictures of the
Hmm.
bunnies. And my son has an iWatch. So he's texting me and he was like, Mom, we got bunnies. These are their names. And I was like, oh, that's so funny and so
Yeah.
cute. But again, it took a while to get to the healthy co-parenting.
Yeah.
We do text now. And yeah, we'll go to the games. We go to the football games. And I'm not the kind of football parent where I just sit there on the flag anyways. And my son's so young, we don't get to sit in the stands like high school games. So we're on the ground and we have our beach chairs and lawn chairs and this and that. I get my lawn chair out. I make my mom sit because I can't sit. I'm a pacer. So wherever my son is lined up, whether he's defense or offense, I am following the team the entire sideline of the game. And the funny thing is, his dad does it too.
Oh,
So in my mom and my dad, and they kind of laugh because he does it, but he doesn't stand directly next to me. He'll stand like a couple feet away or a couple feet behind or something. But if our son is doing an awesome play, we're both cheering him on. And it's took 6 years to get to that point, is what I'm saying. So it can happen. It can. But you both got to be there together at the same time. And it, like I said, pick and choose your battles in the beginning. Like, you just got to swallow your pride on some of this stuff and just shake your head and be like, Jesus, take the wheel, because there's a lot of things we can't control in this world. And our ex's brains are one of those things. But yes, you're right. Co-parenting, like, absolutely. You can text at some point, and it is all about the kid.
yeah.
Always. Or kids.
I didn't realize that you guys, that was the first time you had sat together at a football game.
Oh, yeah.
I just assumed you always did it. And I was like, this is so awkward. I feel really awkward.
And, you know,
because I know
guess-
too much about him.
Yeah.
So he's not my favorite person,
Yeah.
which I hate to say that, but I would never, say
Yeah.
that to
But
Austin, but
I mean,
not my
it's-
favorite.
Yeah, it's also about giving that grace, right? And being a better person and accepting him for who he is. And I'm actually kind of flattered that you guys didn't know that, because that tells us that we're at a co-parenting level that maybe people can still see that we're cordial together. And maybe, I don't know, we put on this facade that we've been cordial the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you guys didn't see that and didn't notice it was the first time.
Wow.
But it was. That was the
Yeah.
first time. And it took 6 years. 6 years. So, yeah, it
Yeah.
takes a while to co-parent.
Well, co-parenting assumes two emotionally safe, you need two emotionally safe and respectful adults. And that assumption breaks down very quickly in high conflict or abusive dynamics, which is
Yeah.
the marriage that I was coming out of. And so parallel parenting, if you're not familiar with it, is minimal direct contact. So like in my divorce decree, we actually have it written. A lot of people do use the Wizard app, I think, as like a court mandated
Yes.
Wizard app, which is what I really wanted to try and get. And he was like, no, we're not doing that. So,
Okay, so it's funny that you said that was mandated by court. We were not told that.
okay.
And then once we got the counselor,
Mm-hmm.
she told us to use it because there was so much animosity
Yeah.
and so much hurt and so much anger towards each other.
Mm-hmm.
The counselor is the one who told us to use the Family Wizard app.
Yeah. He would not use
So-
it. He was like, nope,
Ah.
not doing that. But, like, because it's being monitored. So whatever he's going to say to me, it's going to be monitored by the court. So we actually do, in our decree, we have that our communication will be kept to a minimum. Most of our communication is through an email, which I set up my own email account so that it is just us. No one else is on there. Like, it's not like work isn't on there. You're not on there. No one else is on there.
Okay.
It is strictly, just the two of us that are emailing and communicating. And that is where most of our communication happens because there's a paper trail. Whatever is said. It can't be deleted like a text message can. And that is where all communication happens. We do not talk on the phone. That is not happening because it's no longer recorded. There is no trail of that, and the things that he can say to me needs to be recorded because
Yeah.
it's so high conflict. And then we can text, but that's got minimal recording, and those can be deleted. And usually, like, if you're going to be 15 minutes late, then he'll say, hey, I'm running 15 minutes late. Or I say, hey, I'm running 15 minutes late. Just give you a heads up. But those are the things that are done via text.
Yeah.
Everything else goes through an email. And it's not an email that's readily available on my phone because when you're in a high conflict divorce and parenting situation, when I see those come across, there's instant, like, I catch my breath. I don't want to open that email. Like I have to get myself centered before I'm going to open that email to see what he's going to say.
You need your cup of coffee and a prayer. And you're like, boom.
I need Jesus
Give me grace
before I open
this.
my email. Yeah. My marriage was so abusive. And even, my divorce is coming up like really soon. I think it's May 4th. What is that, Monday? That'll
May
be
4th?
like, what, 3 years? Yeah, 3 years on Monday.
3 years on Monday.
3 years on Monday. So even 3 years out, I still have a lot of that tension and yeah. But I don't know.
Okay.
You have clear court-defined structure, which is what we have. So it's
Okay.
defined in our decree that we are to remain not in communication with each other. Everything goes through text and minimal thing, or everything goes through email, minimal text, no phone calls.
Okay. That's what I saw too.
Yeah. Communication is in writing, and that's either in apps or email. So you are keeping clear, defined boundaries, which if you're with a narcissist, those boundaries are insulting. So when I first set up my email account and I said, this is the way that we're communicating, he did not like it. He would text me and say the most hurtful things and the most hateful things. And I had to learn very quickly not to respond to that because his hurtful things that were coming over were just to drag me into that argument and could make me look bad in court.
Of course.
So I had to just set those boundaries, which he did not like. And each parent operates independently. So one thing that I had to learn is when I'm parallel parenting is the rules are different. So the rules at my house are not necessarily the rules at his house. My kids have a bedtime at my house, and I thought that would transfer over at his house. It did not. So my kids will tell you, I don't have a bedtime at my dad's. And there were times on a school night, on a Wednesday night, that they're texting me at 11:30 at night. And I'm like, why are you awake?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You
so,
have a test tomorrow. Get to bed.
So your girls are actually here with
My
us.
kids are
and
actually
I'm
here.
Curious.
Yes.
Girls, what time is your bedtime at your mom's? 9:30. Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have a bedtime at your dad's? No. Oh my gosh.
No, they do not. And at first, when we first divorced, I'm texting like, put the kids to bed. Like they need to be in bed. And he's like, I can do what I want. Like he's
Yeah,
literally
it's
said, I
us.
can do what I want. And I learned very quickly, like, okay,
You
if
had
they're
to
tired
accept
on
it.
Thursday morning, they're tired on Thursday morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I love it. She just like shrugged her shoulders. Just like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. It is two different households. Some people think that it would be hard for kids to adapt, but I think my kids are pretty balanced and have learned that things happen at mom's and things are different at dad's. And that doesn't necessarily mean things are better at mom's or things are better at dad's. I think they've just kind of learned. And a lot of people think that that's going to be hard for your children. But in a high conflict divorce, statistics actually say that when you're coming out of a high conflict divorce and your high conflict parenting, that if you are able to parallel parent, then the stress for your children reduces within the numbers of 40 to 60%. So even though
I
for a
believe
lot
it.
of people you would think that it would cause a lot more stress for your kids, when you're able to just parallel parent and they adapt to that, it actually reduces stress for your children.
And that's kind of pretty interesting because they promote co-parenting. Co-parenting. It's easier for the kids. It's easier for the kids.
I mean, I think co-parenting would be amazing, but I can't do that.
Yeah,
It's just not going to happen for the two of us.
sure.
Yeah.
And I believe it because I know where you're coming from.
Right.
I,
You know the story.
I know
you
your
know,
story.
Yeah, you know the story. There are different rules for each house, and I think that is okay. I know, like, when it comes to grounding, when I ground my girls, I have phenomenal children. They are actually really, really good kids. But when they get grounded, I don't expect the grounding to go to their dad's house. They would have to do something pretty severe for me to actually say, hey, this is what has happened. They need to remain grounded. This needs to continue when
Okay.
it goes to your house.
So, girls, I'm going to ask you now again. Curious, what kind of rules do you have at your dad's? Do you have any? No? No rules at your dad's? Oh, boy. And you have rules.
I mean, I'm sure there are some rules. We're not going to say that it's a free for all.
Rules
Okay.
aren't rules.
I don't know.
Okay. Basic knowledge of what to do and what not to do.
Is that the same at our house? Oh, she said yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
So,
I don't know.
have you guys ever been grounded at your dad's? You've never been grounded at your dad's? Never been punished at your dad's? No. Very lax, very flex. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is different.
It is different.
And it's
Is it
different
different?
to this day? 3 years later, it's
Yeah.
still different.
Yeah.
And I think in your kids, I mean, they're a little bit older, but 3 years ago, they were still young.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also this is different and it's harder and easier versus age gaps of kids as well. My son was 2 years old when we started the divorce process. And I mean, all the way from the very beginning, I remember holding my son during the divorce process. And during the process, when your child is a toddler, the visitations, it's every other day.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember one time I kid you not, came up to me as I'm holding my son and literally took him from me and said, "Today is my day." And took him. And my son started screaming and crying, not knowing why he couldn't hug me.
Aw.
And so thank God it was 2 years old because he doesn't remember it, but
Yeah.
he still suffers through separation anxiety with me. He's
Mhm.
always wanting to sit next to me. He always wants to put his arm around me. Like he suffers with that. And it made it really hard to try to co-parent because his rules were his way. His his way or the highway 24/7. And that's another reason why it made co-parenting so freaking hard because he wanted to control everything. He wanted to give me the rules in my own house. And it just really, really struggled on this. And I think our son kind of struggled with it too because I think also when it comes to parenting, you have the female and you have the male.
Mm-hmm.
You have the male who's the head of the house. You hear stuff. Remember when as a kid, you get home and your mom would be like, "Wait till your father comes home." And you're just like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, I'm going to go hide."
Yeah.
There's something to say about that.
Mhm.
And I can only punish my son for so long till I kid you not. Last month, he's like, "You don't scare me anymore, Mom." I'm like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Wait till I put curlers in my hair, a bathrobe on, and slippers, and I'm going to walk you to your classroom." And I'm not afraid to do that because I have actually gotten in my car with my slippers on many times before, and that was on accident.
This morning.
This morning, I almost did it again on accident because I was in such a hurry this morning. So it's like, don't tell me you're afraid of me. Don't tell me. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to call your dad. And then immediately he gets upset. Or at this point now, I have to tell him I'm going to call my dad. And I kid you not, my dad has come over. He will call. It was like last Saturday. I didn't even say anything to my dad. But my son was mouthing off and he was disrespecting me and my mom, AKA Mimi. And you don't disrespect women,
Nope.
okay? But he mouthed off to something and my dad was talking to my mom and out of nowhere, he made the phone call. And then the next day, my son had a little toot up his keister and I had to call my dad. And my dad dropped everything and he drove all the way over. It's like about a 30-minute drive, I'd say, to where I live because I live out in the country. Love it. And he drove all the way over and sat down and talked to my son. And I was like, okay. But there's something to be said about a woman's role, mom's role, and a father's role.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have the father figure in my house.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really hard when it comes to co-parenting. Yes, my ex and I, we try to be on the same page about things. But when we're going in the beginning of the divorce and my son doesn't understand the separation and the process of divorce, to then he doesn't know anything different now that he's older. He's understanding that. He's like, dad has his house, mom has her house. He adapts to both. I think his dad is more strict in certain things than I am, but vice versa about other rules.
Right.
And I think also what plays a major factor for kids, which we'll talk about in the next podcast as well, about the kids and their feelings and what they go through and all this. But I think it's also a hard thing when you don't have that other sex under the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes it really hard. So thank God they say it takes a village to raise the kids. So I'm
Yeah.
so blessed that my dad and my mom are always there to help out. And my dad, aka Pop Pop, he always comes to the rescue when it comes to certain situations. So I'm so blessed and so thankful for it. But I think as kids get older, they are easily able to adapt to one rules and one
Mhm.
household versus the other household. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm going to my mom's. I know what I can and can't do. I'm going
Right.
to my dad's. I know what I can and can't do.
Right.
And I think it's awesome that they are very well raised. And you guys have done a great job, you especially, the past 3 years. So
Thanks.
I think you're doing great.
Thanks.
You're doing good. Even though it's parallel parenting, you're doing what you can and you're
Oh,
doing your
yeah.
best.
And we just kind of fell into parallel parenting. Like there was no like, how are we going to do this? I think it was just realized that we weren't going to be able to co-parent well. And I think at the first, when we were going through the divorce and everything was finalized, he was trying to tell me what to do and trying to say, I need this and I want you to do this. And I'm like, you don't live here. And the same goes for me. Like, hey, you need to put the girls to bed. They have school tomorrow. Like those kind of things. And then once the tension died down and once everything became finalized and we started defining our own households and what that was going to look like, we just kind of fell into this parallel parenting, and it has worked for us. Do we still try to cross those boundaries? I would say him more than others, yes. But I've learned how to put those boundaries down and not to let them be crossed. And this is just the way that we are doing this. This is the way that things are going to happen, and it just works for us. I hope that my girls are feeling that everything is working out. I hope that they feel like there's less conflict. I hope that when they get
Yeah.
older and they look back at the situation, that they realize that what we're doing is healthier, because we just can't get along. So, who are the people that need to do parallel parenting? If you're dealing with someone who twists conversations,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you probably need to look into parallel parenting, because you can't parent with somebody that's going to twist everything and twist every conversation and make it a constant argument. Those are not healthy for your children to witness, and those are not healthy for your children to be put in the middle of. If you're co-parenting with someone that uses kids to control or manipulate, you need to look into parallel parenting. That might be better off for you. If they violate boundaries, if they can't respect a boundary, you need parallel parenting.
And boundaries are huge.
Yeah. Somebody that creates constant legal conflict, you need parallel parenting. The last thing that you need to do is to be with your attorney in a courtroom constantly, or constantly consulting with your attorney to see how that you can parent. So yes, you probably need parallel parenting.
You can afford that too, by the way.
Yeah, no, you cannot. And if you are have a history of domestic issues, you need parallel parenting. There is no way that you can co-parent with someone that has abused you either emotionally, verbally, financially, or physically. You
Oh.
need to do parallel parenting.
Yeah, especially if you have a protective order or no contact order.
Right, absolutely.
There's no reason
And that
to
doesn't
do it.
mean that you are failing at co-parenting.
Yeah.
That does not mean that you are a failure. Co-parenting may just not be appropriate for your situation.
Right. And then it also protects children from arguments.
Absolutely.
So, and it allows parents to heal as well. So, going through whatever abuse you're going through,
Mhm.
if you are going through that, if you are trying to escape all that, and if you just need some peace, it allows you to heal and go through the divorce process, going through the grieving and the anger and all the emotions just to get through divorce. I mean, again, this doesn't have to be forever. You don't have to parallel parent forever. Now, if you do have the protective order, I'd say go as long as you can. But if you are doing it because you need time to heal to actually go through the divorce process, this can happen. And this probably is good for you.
Right. Why is parallel parenting often safer? It frames it as protection. It's not avoidance. So it's not that you're trying to avoid co-parenting with your ex-spouse. It's that you're trying to put those boundaries in. You're not only trying to keep yourself safe, but you're trying to keep your children safe. You're trying to keep them from hearing the arguments. You're trying to keep them
Yes.
from being caught in the middle of discord. So it's more about safety, not avoidance. There's less exposure to arguments.
Yes.
With
And then the
parallel,
kids don't see that either.
and the kids don't see that, and they don't hear that, and they don't feel the tension. Do my kids still feel tension when my ex and I are not getting along? Like, there was at one point we were arguing about he wanted to switch something as far as spring break and fall break. He wanted to switch it, and I was like, oh my gosh, we cannot switch. We follow the Indiana parenting guidelines. It is in black and white. When it comes
Yeah.
to that, we need to stick to it, because then there's no, well, you did this last year or you're doing this. There's no gray area. I am sure that they felt that. And I'm sure they felt it from both sides. I mean, you can try to hide things as much as possible from your children, but I'm sure they felt it from both. And I know that they heard things when they went to their dad's house because he gets mad and he says stuff.
Did he talk a lot, girls? Yes. Yeah. Well, they're honest.
And we don't want to put him in the middle. You know, like
it's hard.
Right. Yeah.
Kids are in the middle of this.
Yes. Yes, they are in the middle of it.
And that's not fair.
Parallel parenting, you try to keep those conflicts away from your children because they don't need to be in the middle. They just need a healthy, happy father. They need a healthy, happy mom. And if parallel parenting can provide that, then that's what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. There's fewer loyalty conflicts for kids. So the one thing that in high conflict is that the high conflict parent will try to pull the loyalty of the children. So they feel less loyalty to one parent. They feel like, oh, I can go to my dad's house. I can do this. I can say this. I can go to my mom's house. I can do this and I can say this. And they don't feel like there's a tug of war between being loyal to one parent or the other.
Okay. Makes sense.
Reduced emotional pressure. So your kids actually, if you're in a high conflict divorce, your kids are actually healthier emotionally. They don't feel the pressure coming from those two parents.
I saw that.
So
in the research.
They come out healthier.
Yeah.
And there's more predictability. They know that when they go to their dad's house, this is what happens. They know when they're at their mom's house, this is what happens. Mm-hmm. There's predictability. There's no conflict, so there's no unpredictability.
So out of curiosity, do the girls go to your house and be like, well, Dad said I can do this. Dad lets us do this at his house. Can we do this at your house? Because Dad lets us do it at his house.
No.
No?
I think I'm predictable. He's predictable. So no, but it's not like I'm more strict. I am the parent that has my children more. I think it's divided 70-30 right now. Not right now because they've been with me. I think that when we are following our decree, that they are with me 70-30. So I am the parent, I am the one that's probably a little more stricter, like, hey, turn off your phone. It's time to go to bed, do your homework, be home at this time. I am that parent, but I am pretty flexible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that does say something different. You're not the classic 50-50.
No, we are not.
So you don't do 1 week on, 1 week off, or you don't do the classic 2-2-5-5, which is what I am. I am that norm, 2-2-5-5. And Austin goes from, his dad's 2 days, and he goes to me for 2 days, and then every other Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Monday morning, we switch. So at least we have that consistency, and he knows Wednesdays and Thursdays he's with me, and he knows every other weekend. So I think maybe with that structure, it could be more difficult with kids, but it sounds like being a 70-30, they're set in their place. They know their rules. They know where it is, and they know their boundaries with you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And we have a really healthy relationship, the girls and I. I feel fortunate that I have 2 girls, and they're teenagers now, and we laugh and play games and watch movies, and we have our thing that we do. And now that they are older, like the oldest one, she's 15, she keeps her schedule on her phone. So she knows, like, okay, this is when I'm going to dad's. And she's very involved in high school and in the theater. And she knows, like, this is going to happen on dad's weekend. So I'm going to have to let him know, like, you're going to have to take me here and do these things with me. I think having them older is probably easier.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would have been like if they were younger and we would have been parallel parenting and doing 70-30 or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think, the older they are, the easier it gets, is what I've heard. So it sounds like you guys have a pretty good example of that too.
Yeah.
That's great. You're doing a good job, Mom.
Thanks. So are you.
Thanks. So try. My son told me the other day, though, he's becoming more diverse in sports. So it's not all just football right now. He now has a love for basketball, and he has a love for baseball. And the other day, it was kind of embarrassing. He wanted to go out, and he wanted me to pitch, and he wanted to bat some balls. And I am not a baseball person. I love baseball. I love 162 games a year. I'm a huge Yankee fan. That's the way we are. My brother is a diehard. He will drop anything, and no matter what, even if he's going on a date with his fiance, no matter what, he's going to have the Yankees game on his phone. He's more of a diehard than I am. But I will go and I'll pitch a ball, and I suck at pitching. I am not a pitcher. And then I kid you not, the other day, my son told me, I'd rather have Mimi pitch the ball than you, Mom.
Oh.
I'm like, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Not an insult to you, Mimi, but wow.
But like, I don't pitch. And I feel bad because I want to spend this quality time with him, but I can't throw a freaking ball for him. And then he just gets mad. I was like, you know what? We went and I went and got him a basketball. It was a Jordan Carolina color, North Carolina, because he played for Carolina. Got him a Jordan basketball, and we've gone to a couple parks, and we just shoot hoops. Like, we just do that. And he knows, I think he now knows that boundary. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to ask Mom to pitch a ball for baseball anymore, but we're going to go shoot some hoops. And then the other day, he's like, Mom, I'm going to teach you how to do a layup. I was like, okay, you're 4 foot something teaching me how to do a layup. That's really cute. But I think he's starting that transition that moms are moms, dads are dads. And even though I'm the mom and I do a lot of the mom roles, I'm trying really hard to play the dad role.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take him to these things. I'm trying to play basketball with him. God knows I'm trying to throw baseballs at him. I'm trying to take him to football, and I throw the football with him, and we have our own time. And now he also likes to do Legos on the side. So, and he's very creative with them. He used to be very OCD, where it's like he'll only do a Lego if he has the paper to do it. Well, just the other day, he built a tractor, and then he built this massive ship boat thingy. Like, what the heck are you doing? It was so cool because it was his creation. So it came to the understanding of, I think he's like, okay, this is what I can do at Mom's, what she can do with me, and what I can do at my dad's, and what he can do with me. But it's at the same time, like I've said before, it takes a village to raise a family. And I'm like, okay, it'd be nice to have, I don't know, a friend over or a coach, or maybe get a coach involved to actually spend that time with him and, I don't know, take him to a batting cage or something. I don't know. I got to figure that part out. But it's great that you have the relationship with the girls and that you guys have your own girls' time and such. And I still try to do mine with my son. It's like, even though he's getting involved in things that's much more masculine than me.
How'd you do on your layup?
It's hard being a boy mom. It was fine. It was totally fine. We were in our little town that has 2 basketball goals, and one hoop is like completely torn off, and the other one has the hoop still. So it was kind of like a janky small town park, but it was still a park, and we still had our fun. But it is hard. It's hard playing the mom and the dad role at the same time. It really is. And to co-parent now is so much easier, but good Lord, it is not easy in the very beginning. I wish I had known about the parallel parenting beforehand.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, my counselor did tell us in the very beginning to do the Wizard app, which is a great app. I don't even think it lasted 6 months, because then my ex was like, what's the point? Then he immediately would go straight to emailing and immediately go straight to texting. And then so we kind of faded out. And then that counselor ended up retiring. So we were out of counselor. We paid money for this app that we're not even using. And I think that's kind of what forced us to start communicating via email again. And then that it still occurs, but it also kind of transitioned us into texting. It forced us to put our emotions aside more and more and more. And as we talked about grieving and how you go through these emotions of anger, grieving, sadness, happiness, relief, you go through all these emotions. And as stated before, the more you go through these emotions, the lesser the intensity is. When you're forced to co-parent and you're forced to do these things and put your personal things aside, your personal emotions, your personal hurt, and you're making your child or children the higher priority, I think the easier it gets in time. And then 6 years later, here we are sitting next to each other at a football game, sitting next to each other and walking past the football fields together. And I got to tell you, I didn't make eye contact with my ex until over a year ago. We might be physically present to do these things together, but I never looked him in the eye. I never did. I never could. Especially, it was January of last year. He threatened to take me to court for full custody again because he says I work too much. Because I work too much. He wanted to go to court full custody because I work too much. I was like, I'm sorry, but like your shitty $100 a week in child support doesn't do shit, especially for a kid who eats every hour. I'm like, that's not even a grocery bill for a week, okay? Like, I do his haircuts. I buy his clothes. I buy his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I buy the photos. The Taekwondo picture photo
You do the
shoot,
bucket list.
I did. We do a bucket list.
You do the bucket list.
I also do the bucket list, which thank God that is so sweet. My son wants to do that bucket list every year. So I work for that. But his Taekwondo photo shoot, because you get pictures in every sport,
Right.
$169.
Oh my gosh.
And now there's another photo shoot this Sunday for his football team. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, like seriously, we gotta. There's
And
a
they're
lot
not
to
like-
still to co-parent,
And they're not like the photos that we used to have taken when we were in Pee Wee League and we just went out to the third base and just stood there with our mitt on our knee.
Oh no,
No, they're professional.
they are
They
so
look legit.
professional. But
Oh,
here's
yeah.
the funny part: my mom, she used to do and buy all these packages too when I was in high school, and she would even get these really big round buttons, and she would wear them. And I'm
We
like,
still have those.
do you still have mine?
They
She
do
has
still
them.
do those buttons.
They still do the buttons. In fact, I was thinking about starting to do it, see if it would embarrass my son. I'm
Is
gonna
that
be
embarrassing?
mom.
Do you
Kids-
want me to get a button of you? I noticed that some people had them on for theater last week.
Oh, they do the theater buttons too.
Yes.
That's cute.
I'm getting a button.
You totally
Mark's
are gonna
getting
get
a
a button.
button.
We're gonna get buttons.
Mark's getting a button. You're getting a button. You're getting a button.
I'll totally wear
We're
that.
gonna wear them
button.
to church. She's not amused.
Oh my gosh, I love the smile that she has on you right now. She's looking at you. But yeah, it's just it is. It can happen, co-parenting. It can, not for everybody, but also it's not forever when it comes to the parallel parenting. It doesn't have to be forever. And it is a great way to separate the tension among the parents.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, if you can get to that level where you guys can intelligently, emotionally communicate where it's just about your kid or kids, co-parenting can be for you at some point. But it was really interesting to learn the difference of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And the key difference is when it comes to interactions, we'll go over this again. Co-parents work together. Parallel parenting maintains the distance. Consistency, co-parenting, you thrive on uniformity. Parallel parenting accepts different rules per home. In the goals, co-parenting focuses on unity. Parallel parenting focus on conflict reduction. So those are the major key differences of the two. But I also know you had mentioned before we got started that you also found Bible verses and you have a lot more to talk about. So you take the wheel, girl.
So, you might feel like if you're thinking like I need to go into parallel parenting, or maybe you'll just be like us and you just kind of fall into it. But I know that I did have a lot of thoughts like, how should I be responding? How should I be handling this? You might say, am I being difficult? Am I being difficult and not communicating? It's not communicating, because you do have to still communicate. But are you being difficult, or am I not trying hard enough? I know that when I saw you guys getting along and sitting together at the game, I was like, wow, that's really cool that they can sit together, because I don't even want mine to sit on the other side. I don't want my ex to be even on the opponent's side. Like, that's too close for me. I just thought it was really awesome. And it did occur to me, like, am I being too difficult? Should I be doing this differently? But then when I go back and I look at what our marriage was and the things that occurred in our marriage and the conflict that was occurring even after the divorce, I quickly realized, like, no, I'm not being difficult. I'm safeguarding myself and I'm safeguarding our children. And it's not that he necessarily was harming our children. It's just that the conflict is way too much and the conflict cannot continue the way that it is. So parallel parenting is best for our family. And should I be more forgiving? Forgiving, and we've talked about forgiveness.
That was a
Forgiveness
big one.
is not allowing someone to still not allowing somebody to still conflict and still come at you and still call you names and still argue with you. No,
Right.
you're not. Yeah, it looks differently. Yeah.
Yeah, when we talked about forgiveness, we talked about setting those boundaries as
Yeah.
well. And that was a really good topic. So if anyone has not listened to that podcast yet, I would strongly recommend jumping on that one. It was,
yeah.
I think, the second highest watched podcast. I think it was the actual highest podcast on Facebook, actually. We had over 300 views on that one.
Mm-hmm.
On forgiveness. But I think it was the second, if not the third highest on YouTube. But it is such a powerful, powerful topic. So yes, if anyone has not listened to it, please jump on that one. It was
Mhm.
super, super rad.
Yeah. When it comes to parallel parenting, if if there's a lot of high conflict, pray before responding.
I should
Which
do that
is
co-parenting.
you should probably do that with co-parenting. Yes, you probably should. Because I know, like, when he sends me an email or I see his name pop up on my text message, I'm like, dear Lord, what is this going to say? And I think we legally have 24 hours to respond. I don't know where that came from,
It
but
is
I
a
think you
24-hour
have 24 hours to respond. I use my 24 hours unless I can see that it's just like, hey, I'm running 15 minutes late, whatever. But I do use my 24 hours because I
he?
know. No,
Okay, go on.
I
was
don't.
just
I would
curious.
say no. I think, but he's high conflict, so he's going to respond.
Okay.
I use that because I don't want to respond out of an emotional response. I want to make sure that my response is weighted. I want to make sure my response is not emotional. It has to just be, this is the answer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is what you asked. This is
Absolutely.
the accusation that you made, but this is what you asked. I'm not going to respond to that accusation. I'm going to respond to the question. So pray before responding or wait.
I think I need to
Don't
use this
react.
more.
Keep communication brief, respectful, and documented. My ex does have a tendency to make a lot of accusations. And those are emotional and those can drag you
Yes.
in, and then you're being drugged through. I know, like, last year there was one thing and it was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I finally just had to stop. Like, I can't keep having the same conversation with you and keep responding with the same thing. It just needs to be short. It needs to be respectful, and it needs to be documented.
Yeah. I mean, what's the definition of insanity, right?
Yes, the same thing
repeating.
over and over and expecting another result. Yes.
Expecting it to change.
Yes. Release what you cannot control to God, because you can't control everything. This person is their own person. They are going to do what they want to do. They are going to say what they want to say. There are just some things that you can no longer control, and you just got to hand it over. Like, Jesus, take the wheel. Here you go.
And that is super hard.
Yes.
Super, super hard.
But
I
there is
still
so much
struggle.
freedom
Mm-hmm.
in allowing God to just take it over. There is so much freedom. So allow God to take control of whatever you cannot.
It's so true.
Let the parenting plan be the boundary, not your emotions. So you can be spirit-led and still be structured.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
don't-
really hard to, the whole control thing is really, really hard. It is super hard. Jesus, take the wheel. That's for sure.
Right.
I have this big banner in my master bedroom, and it says, give it to God and go to sleep. And it's like, okay, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to try. And every morning I have my cup of rise and I do my Bible reading, and I'm like, all right, today is going to be awesome. Today is going to be awesome. Today is going to be awesome. Think of 3 things that you're grateful for every morning. And, things happen throughout the day. And then when I was going through all this, like, I was not praying in the mornings going through my divorce. I was more like, okay, how am I going to survive through this?
Right. Yeah, I
And
remember
every
those
text
days.
message, every email, I just did not want to open. I didn't, because I knew as soon as I did, my emotions are going to go awry, and it could have ruined my day if I let it. And it's so, so hard to take emotions out of it. It really is. And to make it all logical,
Yeah.
especially when the other person wants to be in control
Right.
just as much.
Yes.
It really can drive you bonkers. So I think this type of information and really learning how to give it to God and just let him do his thing is a very powerful thing to do. It's a
Mhm.
very hard thing to do. I will give it that. It's extremely hard.
Yeah.
But parallel parenting, I mean, it's there for a reason.
Yeah. I think it just was kind of created.
Mm-hmm.
I know I hadn't heard of it. I think I had heard of it maybe 2 years before I got my divorce. And somebody had mentioned, oh, we're parallel parenting. And when they explained it to me, I was like, that's weird, but whatever. Like,
yeah.
because I wasn't getting a divorce. And I was like, why can't you guys just get along and figure it out together? And then when I got my divorce, I figured out very quickly, oh, that's what parallel parenting is. And then we just kind of fell into it.
That's
and
why we can't work it out together.
It's very manageable, and it's been a very good thing for us. I don't know. I wonder if my ex would say, oh, we parallel parent. I don't think he would. I think
Would he even know what that is?
I don't know.
I mean, I didn't know
He
what it
tells
was.
me that I suck as a co-parent a lot. He's like, you really suck at this co-parenting thing.
Oh, Lord.
You need to be a better co-parent. I'm like, we're not co-parenting, buddy. We're parallel parenting.
And there's a difference.
And there's a difference.
There's a reason
That's why
why.
I suck at co-parenting, because I'm not.
Newsflash.
He didn't get the memo.
I guess he did not. Are you going to send him on a wizard app and be like, hey, FYI, this is called parallel parenting, not co-parenting?
No, I'm not going to do that. We don't do the wizard app. They wanted us to, but no, we're not going to do that.
No. You're going to send in that email?
No.
Not what email account that you have?
I'm not. No, I keep my communication to a minimum. Only what he needs to know.
Good for you.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I mean, if that's what's easier, that's what's easier. And that's what's going to make you guys better parents and raise the kids in a great way. You got to do what you got to do.
You do have to do what you do.
Yeah. So, well, this is an interesting topic, and I do want to continue this on and actually start getting kids' input on what it's like to go back and forth when it comes to the parenting skills, and get in touch with a couple of counselors and really dive deeper into that viewpoint in the future. In the meantime, is there anything else that you want to discuss about this?
I mean, I think that if you are in a high conflict divorce and you are worried about I think a lot of people just assume that we're supposed to co-parent and we're supposed to get along and we're supposed to sit at football games together and we're supposed to do all these things and make these healthy decisions. Some people you just cannot do that with. And parallel parenting might be best for you. And I just think that there's a couple of scripture verses that I just want to leave you with, that Jesus walked away from conflict. And you can read about that in Luke 4:28-30. He didn't entrust himself to everyone. And that's in John 2:24. And he often withdrew from crowds to maintain peace and clarity. And if Jesus modeled both love and boundaries, then we're allowed to do the same. We're supposed to model our lives after Christ. So if he's modeling that for us, then I think that we need to look into that. We need to do what is best for us and what is best for our children. And sometimes that is parallel parenting. That doesn't make you a bad parent. That doesn't make you a bad person. Your children, if they can see you parallel parenting and doing it well together, they're going to come out healthy. They're going to come out okay.
Yeah.
I have to believe that because I just have to believe that. I see healthiness in my girls. So, yeah, look into that one.
Yeah. I mean, look at them. They're doing great.
I know. I mean, they're both on their phones and their iPads right now, but I know one of them is listening. The other one is not.
The other one's answering.
But they are healthy. And it reminds me of a story because we're going into summer and we have things that we do in the winter. We watch our movies and usually we make popcorn in the popper and we do those things. But in the summertime, we buy ice cream. And they were like, we were just talking about it the other day, it's getting to be summer. We're going to be buying ice cream soon. Because we all like to get the little pints and we each have our own little flavor. Like Abigail likes cookies and cream. Paige, I think, likes mint chocolate chip or something like that. And I like anything with salt and nuts and chocolate and caramel. So we all get our little pint of ice cream. We keep it in the freezer and we eat from that as we're watching a movie or as we're sitting by the fire or out in the backyard or whatever it is we were doing. But when we first started doing that, they said, Dad would have never allowed us to do this because we weren't allowed to do that.
Oh.
So that's just kind of one of the things that shows the difference in our parenting. Like he parents one way and I parent another. Something so silly and so dumb.
I wouldn't say it was dumb.
No,
quirky things.
not allowing children to have ice cream is dumb.
That I agree with.
Yeah,
I agree.
but it
Kids
shows the
deserve
difference
ice
in our
cream.
parenting.
Yes.
And I think that they realize like this we're not allowed to do at our dads. This we get to do at our moms, and they're looking forward to it because it's summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully
point.
Kroger has their ice cream on sale soon, and we'll go and buy a couple of pints and eat from it.
Hold on a second. My mom's talking to me.
Okay. Oh.
Because my screen's showing something different up here. This is why I was curious. Okay, that's very good. Thank you. Well, we're wrapping it up anyway. So I know we've been in here for almost an hour. And the funny thing is, every time we start a podcast, I'm like, oh, this one's going to be short. I see maybe 30 minutes in this. And now we're in an hour.
Yeah.
It's funny how this works.
Yeah.
But I love that scripture. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to this
I don't
before
have
we go?
anything else.
Okay. So this was an awesome topic, and it is clearly different from parallel parenting versus co-parenting. I hope this also brings some light at the end of the tunnel and hope for those who don't know how to parent with their exes or even going through the divorce and trying to figure that battle out, that there
Mhm.
is a difference between the two. And you could always do one versus the other, and it doesn't have to be permanent. But
Right.
if whatever's best for the kids, right?
Mhm.
And so there is a difference. And like I said, in futuristically, we'd like to discuss more on the kids aspect of it and what they go through and what it's like for them. So if you don't have anything else, we'd like to say thank you guys for attending our YouTube Live, our very first one. And I hope it's rad. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope it spreads all over the world and we continue to show love to everybody, because even though God hates divorce, he does not hate divorced people.
That's right.
So you are loved. And even though you might be broken, remember that broken crayons still color.
Yes, they do.
And we're all in this together. We are from broken to blessed together, and that we are still here and we are still going to continue spreading the love. But more on YouTube than on Facebook now. So join, and if you have not yet subscribed, please do, so we can continue spreading the love all over the world. So Miss Angela, if you wouldn't mind, we are going to close in prayer as we always do. And if you don't want to join us, go and make it matter. Enjoy this awesome day and enjoy the Kentucky Derby, because that's going on tonight.
Mhm.
And if you want to stick around and listen to the prayer, please join us. Miss Angela?
All right. Lord, we just thank you for the examples that you model in your word. And we just invite our listeners that if they are in a high conflict situation, Lord, and they know that they need peace in their lives, that they'll look towards parallel parenting and kind of weigh out the difference between how they want to parent. We just pray that they'll find peace in their families and in their homes, if that looks like parallel, or maybe that looks like co-parenting. If they're able to co-parent together, we just ask for the peace to be brought into their homes, that they do what is best for their children, Lord. We thank you for the examples that you have modeled. We ask that our listeners just have the peace that you give, looking into the summertime as schedules look a little bit differently, Lord. We're just so thankful for you and all that you do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.